I think it's important that we put Saad Al-Jabri's blistering interview with CBS into the wider context and look at the potential it has to really affect US-Saudi relations. Saad Al-Jabri, who was the number 2 in the Saudi intelligence agency, who has fled Mohammed bin Salman, who is residing in the US, who claims that his family now are being tortured by Mohammed bin Salman in a bid to pressure him to return home, made a number of accusations in this interview with CBS towards the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, or against the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. One of those accusations includes that Mohammed bin Salman had remarked to Mohammed bin Nayef, who was Interior Minister at the time, that he could have King Abdullah assassinated if he wanted to, using a Russian ring. And the reality is that for bin Salman to make such a statement is not beyond belief, not necessarily because of who Mohammed bin Salman is or the acts that he has committed with regards to the murder of Khashoggi, but rather in the context of the conversation, the context of the time in which the conversation took place, which is, you'll remember that Mitab bin Abdullah, the son of King Abdullah, was trying to maneuver to have Mohammed bin Salman's father removed as crown prince. Mitab bin Abdullah, in the year that this conversation is reported to have taken place, Mitab bin Abdullah had changed the governor of Riyadh to his brother Turki bin Abdullah. He had changed the governor of Mecca to Mish'al bin Abdullah, to his brother Mish'al bin Abdullah. And it was believed that if King Abdullah had lived a bit longer, then this partnership of Mitab bin Abdullah and his father's trusted advisor Khalid al-Tuwaijri would have eventually been able to topple Salman as crown prince and have him replaced. So it's likely that this statement was made, but made within the context of bin Salman really feeling the pressure from Mitab bin Abdullah and this bid to have Salman removed as crown prince. But going back to the interview and its potential impact on US-Saudi relations, it's important to note two things. The first is that Saad Al-Jabri himself in the interview towards the end acknowledges that for the US, bin Salman's utility on issues such as Iran appears to outweigh the disadvantages of his menacing actions, as Saad Al-Jabri calls it, whether it's regards to Khashoggi, whether it's regards to the imprisoning of opposition. He acknowledged that despite the human rights abuses, the US still sees utility in Mohammed bin Salman. And the second thing that's worth noting are the words of Michael Morell, the former acting director of the CIA, in the interview, in which, while he clearly shows sympathy for Saad Al-Jabri and clearly shows sympathy for Mohammed bin Nayef and clearly shows displeasure towards Mohammed bin Salman, that shows that while there may be US policymakers who view Mohammed bin Salman with displeasure, this does not outweigh the view of US policymakers that Mohammed bin Salman is still useful. And that's why this interview, rather than damaging Mohammed bin Salman, actually affirms what everybody believes underpins the relationship between US and Saudi, which is that the US is ready to turn a blind eye to human rights abuses because Mohammed bin Salman is useful to achieve US political interests.